everybody. Welcome to TN Sports Chat presented by Lehigh Valley Health Network. This is Evan McCall. I'm Patrick Matsinko. We're back. Now we are really in sort of a transition phase, I guess. We've officially wrapped up spring sports. PIAA baseball playoffs ended for Northwestern earlier this week. The Tigers lost 7-3 to Valley View in the PIAA semifinals, Class 4A semifinals. Close game though, 7-3, but there were certainly stretches throughout where it was a one-run game, it was a two-run game.
Northwestern had a lot of chances in the game.
Yeah.
Left the bases loaded, had a fifth
inning. Fifth inning,
yeah,
with one out, bases
down
loaded.
a couple of runs. So
yeah,
but nonetheless, a great run for Northwestern. Best run in school history.
Yeah.
Never made it to the state semifinals before. And you were down there, Central Columbia, the game was at, you were there. Some of the things you were talking about that struck me, that you talked about the crowd that was there.
Yeah.
Which, for high school baseball, you don't think of that.
It
When
was
you
awesome,
get football,
though.
basketball playoffs, which
Yeah.
is really cool for the kids. You said Coach Perino from
Yeah.
Northwestern said afterwards, he talked about the kids probably never played in front of a crowd like that.
No, and the whole atmosphere, the vibe was great. From the moment we kind of got there and got set up, it felt like you were really there, and sort of that big game, had that big game feel.
And that's what you like at this time.
Oh,
of year.
yeah.
A lot of media there.
Yeah.
TV, radio.
Which is
times our sports writers.
Yeah, and it was cool because there was, I guess there was supposed to be a game at Pine Grove also on Monday, and they had to move that to Central Columbia. So that was after our game. I think that one started around 6:30. So there were teams coming in, and then not too far away there was also a softball field where North Schuylkill was playing. So there was state softball. Oh yeah. So
that's the cool thing about the PIAA basketball playoffs, when you have those doubleheaders and you get the overlapping crowds. The end of that first game.
Oh, it's crazy.
I've been at Martz Hall many a times when it's just packed.
Yeah.
And you got two teams or four teams basically. They're fans from four teams at the end of that first game, and it just if it's a good game, it really makes it exciting.
And everybody seemed to really be enjoying it. I mean, because there again, you're thinking about that spot where it's bottom, fifth inning. It's 4-2. Northwestern has bases loaded. So at that point, you're getting the teams from the other schools are already there. Other fans are already there. So now you have people that doesn't matter who's playing. They're invested in, hey, what's going to happen here, and just really kind of sort of locked into it, which is really neat.
It's really cool for high school athletes to play in those kind of situations, no matter what the sport is. It's a really neat experience. And once again, great season for Northwestern. The one thing you did two stories on the game for our paper that were in Tuesday's Times News, and if you didn't see the paper or check it out online, Pat did two really good stories on the game, but the sidebar you did on the story, I was struck by Northwestern has several underclassmen who played key roles this year, and they all talked about building upon the success, and that's kind of what happens when you have some good senior leadership. The kids kind of see what it took to get to that stage, and they're already, the game's over 5 minutes, and they're already talking about
what's
getting
next?
back to next year.
Yeah.
What do we have to do to get here again? And that's what good programs do.
And you think about the cleanup hitter in that game was a junior, Derek Holmes, a kid who's been huge for Northwestern throughout this season, and obviously figures to be a major part of what they do moving forward. Rafe Parrish, a freshman playing
two freshmen, and
Nick
Henry.
Nick Henry.
And
Parrish he obviously was great at the plate, but I saw him make some huge plays defensively in the couple of times that I saw them in the state playoffs. So that's a kid that, again, and along with Nick Henry, both freshmen. Then you have Brandon Mangle, another underclassman. Vinny Castrine. He's only a sophomore.
A pitch for them. So Northwestern is primed to challenge again.
Yeah, certainly lose a lot of talent
Right.
with Tyler Wick, Trevor Schreiner, Jake Haas, Austin Stasko, and then Mason Vogwell and Drew White, two of their biggest pitching assets. But yeah, again, they're definitely a team that could certainly make another postseason run next year. So.
So they're out. They're
Yeah.
finished. State championships. We're doing this on a Friday morning. State championships took place yesterday, today, in different sports. So now, but the Times News has officially made the transition to our summer mode now.
Yes.
We've got Legion and Connie Mack baseball going on. All-Star football game this week. So we've officially made that conversion.
And we had our first, I guess, Lehigh Valley Health Network Game of the Week now for the summer season, which just took place Thursday night with Northern Valley and Carbon Monarchs. Lehigh Valley
Coincidentally,
Legion
that
and
Northern Valley team is loaded with the kids who
Northwestern
just finished
players.
playing 2-3 days earlier in the state playoffs.
yeah, and their season kind of got delayed
Right.
a little bit.
Yeah, most of the Lehigh Valley Legion teams have played 5, 6, 7 games already. They're 1-1. They started Wednesday, a day after the Northwestern baseball team was eliminated from the playoffs. The Northern Valley team, for people who don't know, it's a lot of Northwestern, Northern Lehigh, and a few Palmerton baseball players comprise that team.
So they're going to have a stretch of, 18 games in 20 days?
Yeah, that's a pretty
That's-
busy. You hope you have a lot of pitchers.
Yeah,
because that could really take a wear on pitchers. But yeah, that's so, and that's what they kind of do. If your high school team's involved in state baseball playoffs, the Legion team kind of pushes off their games until that season's over. But which is nice. But it also creates a real backload of games.
Oh, yeah.
Because the Legion season is relatively short to
Oh,
begin
yeah.
with. Even if you don't have games backed up, you still have about a little over a month to play your games usually. So it's pretty crazy. It'll be for Northern Valley. And we covered that Carbon Northern Valley game. Chris Worley was there Thursday night, covered it. So Friday's Times News will have a story on the game. But just looking at Chris's story, I see Vogwell and Schreiner and Wick and, all these
Names are real familiar.
Yeah, so
and Tyler Wick, again, I mean, a kid who was one of many of Northwestern's players who was on fire throughout the postseason, launched another home run.
just carried it right over. He was
Yeah.
the Times News Lehigh Valley Health Network player of the game for the Thursday game.
Yeah, so I guess in some ways no surprise, but big part of Northwestern's success, and it certainly looks like he's going to be another leader for Northern Valley this
On the
season.
other hand, Carbon Monarchs, they got off to a good start. Started the season 2-1. They're in a bit of a slide
Yeah.
now. I think they've lost 4 or 5 games in a row, but they've got some talent on that team. I know Bradley Buzzard, Panther Valley baseball player. I'm looking. You check the box scores out every night, and it seems like he's always got a couple of hits, and he's doing some things for them. And they do have some nice talent there. A lot of Lee Hyden, Jim Thorpe, Panther Valley high school players. So I expect them to turn it around. They had a good run last year. And,
And that's, again, it's a tough league, but Donnie Rarig, manager there, certainly does a good job with those kids, and he's certainly been one that's kind of helped them kind of come along, and he was always big with Keystone Babe Ruth,
Right.
Senior Babe Ruth, and a lot of those teams. So very familiar with a lot of those kids, and I'm sure he's seen a lot of them come up through the ranks. So
And we'll have lots of coverage of the Carbon Monarchs in Northern Valley.
Yeah.
The next few weeks as the Legion season kind of heats up.
So that'll be fun.
But it wasn't just baseball this
No.
week. We actually got to kick
Football.
some footballs around.
Football.
Yeah.
The
Wow.
annual.
It's got about 10 names. McDonald's,
I was gonna
Lehigh
say, we gotta get 'em all
Valley,
in.
Classic, All-Star football game. But yeah.
the red and the gold.
Yep, Thursday night down at Nazareth Stadium. Brad Hurley was there for the Times News, covered it. Brad has a really good story in Friday's paper as well. It was a little lopsided. You've covered them in the past, and there's been a lot of shootouts down
yeah.
there. Gold put some points up. They had 35. The Reds struggled a little offensively. It was 35-7 game. our local kids were all on the red side.
Yes.
Had 5 schools represented: Pleasant Valley, Lehighton, Palmerton, Northern Lehigh, Northwestern. All had student athletes playing in the game, and Lehighton's Tom McCarroll coached the red team.
Yeah, and I think it's always just fun where, maybe it's not so much about the outcome. It's just the idea
Correct.
that you get to come together and play with those kids that you played against. And even I think too, maybe for Tom McCarroll and for that staff and for those guys, got to go up against Palisades head coach Kevin Ronald, who they're familiar with from a district championship game.
Just playing against each other in November.
So you get that opportunity and that different kind of camaraderie as coaches and as players, which they enjoy.
And to talk about what you just mentioned there, if you read Coach McCarroll's comments after the game, and that's kind of what he talked about, how the kids came together. They're the leaders and best players on all these teams, and they came together and they all have roles, but how much everybody got along and how much everyone worked for the common goal. And he was really pleased with how it went.
It's a cool vibe. It's a cool atmosphere, and I think too, even for us, when you think about the typical regular kind of Friday night football stuff, where it is always so intense, where you're always so locked in and focused on stats and this and that, and there's no
every game matters.
Yeah, there's no. Even when you're covering it, you're just kind of so focused,
Exactly.
And then when you're doing an all-star game, it's just kind of. It's just a different feel, which is, it's nice.
I mean, both teams trying to win, but at the same time, you've got like 2 weeks of practice to get ready for it, and it's got the all-star feel to it.
Yeah, and you have kids that are still doing other things, and I'm sure even for these games where you have kids who also maybe play Legion baseball, and you have other kids that are maybe back and forth between some other things. So, but definitely a nice way to cap careers for a lot of these kids.
And the other quote from Coach McCarroll was kind of whet his appetite a little bit for football, because within 2 months,
it'll be here.
Practice will be going already. So
it never stops, but it's definitely exciting when it's getting a little bit closer.
And in addition to all the high school or the Legion and the football we talked about, we have a former Times News athlete who's doing something on the professional circuit this year.
He's a little bit
playing in some golf tournament.
Somewhere maybe in New York or something. Northwestern's and Northwestern grad and recent Penn State grad Cole Miller. Qualified for the U.S. Open, he's acquitted himself pretty decently well at Shinnecock Hills, which has been tough.
We're taping this Friday morning. Cole shot an 8 over par 78 on the U.S. Open course during the first round, but he's got some pretty good company there shooting that score.
As did Jordan Spieth.
And Tiger Woods, I think, was right there.
No small matter.
It was. It's supposedly a really difficult course the USGA has set up for them this week. But Cole had quite the week. 2 weeks ago, he decided he was going to become a pro. He is now golfing on the PGA Canada Tour. And then right at that same time, he entered a qualifier tournament, and finished third out of 56 golfers, and that earned him a spot in the U.S. Open. So in the span of 2 or 3 days, he became a pro and also got a spot in the U.S. Open. So that was a nice week for Cole.
Congratulations. Most kids at that age are not really sure what's going on, and
a couple months out of college, and
now you're
pretty well.
A pro and you're playing in the U.S. Open. So
we've had a couple of really good stories on Cole. The day after he qualified, TJ Angle did a story for our paper last week, and then in Wednesday's paper of this week, Mike Haynes talked to Cole while he was up after one of his practice rounds at Shinnecock, New York for the Open. Mike Haynes talked to him and got a really cool story, and Mike's going to be doing a follow-up with Cole after the tournament. Hopefully he makes it through all 4 rounds. But whether it's 2 rounds or 4 rounds he plays, Mike's going to have a story in Monday's or Tuesday's Times News about his experience up at the Open, which should be really cool.
Yeah, and again, just to be able to play there and be among so many phenomenal golfers is, just to think about that on that stage is pretty remarkable.
And I've got another trivia question for you. I throw these at you once in a while. I don't let you know ahead of time. And this is going to wrap up our kind of tie-in, our Cole Miller that we were just talking about. And also next week, we're going to have the Times News Spring Sports Athletes of the Year coming up. And it's a little tie-in between the two. So here's the question, Patrick. Cole Miller, professional golfer, he was a 3 times Times News Golfer of the Year, but you'd think, who would be able to beat Cole Miller for as Golfer of the Year? This is a kid who got a Division I scholarship to Penn State, played in professional golf, now made the U.S. Open. So, but he was not a 4-time Times News Athlete of the Year. There have only been 6 in the years we've been doing it. There have been 3 boys. Isaac Dunkenberger of Tamaqua cross country, Henry Peisty, Northwestern boys tennis, and Jared Sewiak, Pleasant Valley boys tennis. And there have been 3 girls, Alexa Griffith, Tamaqua cross country, Alyssa Vavra, Panther Valley swimming, and, well, this is a spoiler alert, but there's another one this year, Girls Cross Country Athlete of the Year. So should we just save that? You'll have to figure it out. You'll see the paper this week, but that'll be the 6th. But the only Cole Miller was only a 3 times champion. In 2010, Cole's freshman year, a senior from Palmerton was the boys Golfer of the Year. Any idea, Patrick, who that was?
I was not working here, so I can not
you probably right
think
around
about it.
high school in that year. But it was Ben Andrews of Palmerton. Ben had a really good senior year. He made it to the state golf tournament that year. I think Cole made it as well, but Ben was our Golfer of the Year, and now Ben can tell his kids or grandkids someday
that he won up Cole Miller.
Yeah, who knows? Cole might be the next Jordan Spieth or Ricky Fowler, and then it would even make it even more impressive.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Anyway.
And it's neat. It's always cool when you do see, like I had a chance to cover Cole a few times through toward the end of his career. But it is pretty remarkable to see, you think these kids have that kind of potential and they can do these things, and now all of a sudden you see that kind of stuff sort of come to fruition.
Yeah, so best of luck to Cole.
Very cool.
The rest of the U.S. Open in his professional career.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And like you said, next week we'll start with our Spring Sports Athletes of the Year stories. So that'll
Monday through Friday.
Yeah, so that'll be certainly a lot to look forward to, and then we'll really dive into all of our summer sports and baseball and different things that we'll get to cover. So
sounds good.
Anything else for you?
Nope, I think that's it. That covers it.
So for Emmett McCall, I'm Patrick Matsinko. Thank you once again for tuning in to TN Sports Chat presented by Lehigh Valley Health Network.